Your Honor, I present Exhibit A, my itemized invoice for raising my niece after her mother's death, Aunt Beatrice announced, sliding a manila folder across the courtroom with the confidence of someone who'd never lost an argument at Thanksgiving dinner. The judge adjusted his glasses, scanning the $30,000 bill that listed everything from emotional labor to birthday cake expenses, then looked up with an expression I'd never seen in 3 years of law school. Mrs. Evans, he said slowly, before we proceed, perhaps you could explain why this invoice doesn't mention the steady financial support you were already receiving for Olivia's care. The courtroom erupted. Beatrice's lawyer scrambled through papers while my aunt's face drained of color. Behind me, cousins who'd come to cheer on their mother's righteous cause started whispering. I sat perfectly still, letting the bomb I'd buried in discovery documents do its work. That's different, Beatrice stammered, her voice losing the righteous indignation she wore like armor. That money was for her care, which you're now billing her for. Judge Thompson's eyebrow arched. So, you had dedicated funds for her support, and now you want her to pay you again for the same expenses. I touched my lawyer, Cora Hayes's arm, our predetermined signal. She rose smooth as aged whiskey. Your Honor, we'd like to present our counter evidence regarding how those funds were actually used. Beatrice flushed crimson. This is ridiculous. I raised that ungrateful girl for 8 years. 8 years of sacrifice. Sacrifice. The word tasted like copper pennies. The same word she used when she locked me in my room for asking about Mom. The same word she spat when I begged to see family photos. The same word that decorated every guilt trip, every manipulation, every reminder that I was a burden she claimed to carry. Judge Thompson lifted a hand for silence. We will proceed in an orderly fashion. Mrs. Evans, please explain your invoice. She straightened her discount designer jacket, the one she'd bought with money meant for my college. After my sister died, I took in Olivia out of the goodness of my heart. No one else would. Her father was already gone, and I had 3 children of my own. Every penny on that invoice represents a sacrifice my family made. Let's go through this line by line, the judge said, his tone sharpening. Food, 8,000. Mrs. Evans, were you not already receiving regular funds intended for Olivia's needs? Well, yes, but it was household assistance for a family of 5. That barely covered. Beatrice's lawyer touched her arm, but she shook him off. Your Honor, those programs don't cover the full cost of raising a child. No, Judge Thompson agreed, which is why you also received additional monthly support. According to these records, it was more than enough for the basics. I had expenses. Beatrice's voice pitched higher. Do you know how much teenagers cost? Clothes, school supplies, activities. I spoke for the first time, my voice carrying across the courtroom. What activities, Aunt Beatrice? Cora touched my hand in warning, but Judge Thompson nodded. The plaintiff may speak to this point. I stood. 18 years of silence, breaking like a dam. I wasn't allowed to join any activities. Too expensive, you said. I wore your daughter Sophia's hand-me-downs, even though support funds were meant for clothing. I ate different meals than your family, rice and beans while you had steak. Should I continue? You ungrateful, Beatrice began, but her lawyer grabbed her arm. Miss Miller, the judge said, not unkindly. Do you have evidence of these claims? Cora handed him a thick folder. Photos, Your Honor. School records showing Olivia was denied field trips because payments were never made. Witness statements from teachers who provided her lunch money. Medical notes citing malnutrition. And this, she lifted a small leather journal. Olivia's diary from ages 10 through 15, documenting where her support really went. I remembered that diary, hidden under a loose floorboard, written in code Beatrice never cracked. Every dollar she spent on herself while telling me to be grateful for scraps. Every time Sophia got new shoes while I walked with holes in mine. Every Christmas where my gift was being allowed to sit at the table. This is character assassination, Beatrice shrieked. I gave her a home. I could have let her go into foster care. Foster care might have been kinder, I said quietly. At least they wouldn't have stolen my future while calling it charity. Judge Thompson read through several pages, his expression darkening with each one. Mrs. Evans, these bank records show large cash withdrawals coinciding with the benefit deposits. Can you explain? Household expenses. To Las Vegas? He held up a credit card statement. Atlantic City? These casino charges? The courtroom had gone deadly quiet behind Beatrice. Her children, my cousins, were staring at their mother with dawning horror. Sophia, who'd always wondered why she got so many nice things. Lucas, who'd asked once why I didn't eat dinner with them. Little Lily, who tried to share her toys until Beatrice told her I didn't deserve them. Your Honor, Cora said, we'd also like to present evidence of educational fraud. Objection. Beatrice's lawyer finally found his voice. Overruled. Proceed. Cora handed over another folder. Mrs. Evans claimed on multiple legal documents that she was saving for Olivia's college education. These are sworn affidavits for state programs, federal aid applications. Yet, when Olivia turned 18, the college fund was empty. The $50,000 that should have been there, based on the benefits specifically designated for education, had vanished. I had unexpected expenses, Beatrice muttered. Like your bathroom renovation? I asked. The one you posted all over Facebook? Or Sophia's Sweet 16 party that cost $15,000? The one I wasn't allowed to attend because I wouldn't fit in with her friends. Miss Miller, Judge Thompson said gently. I understand this is emotional, but I'm sorry, Your Honor. I took a breath. But she's not just asking for money. She's asking me to pay for my own neglect, to finance my own abuse, to thank her for stealing my childhood and my future. Beatrice's face had gone purple. Abuse? I never laid a hand on you. No, I agreed. You just told me every day that I killed my mother by being born, that my father left because I was too much trouble. I should be grateful you didn't dump me at the fire station. You just locked me in my room when your friends came over because I was an embarrassment. You just made me eat in the kitchen while your real family ate in the dining room. You? Enough. Beatrice slammed her hand on the table. I want my money. I deserve compensation for taking in my sister's mistake. The word hung in the air like a noose. Mistake. Judge Thompson's voice had gone arctic. You consider your niece a mistake. Beatrice's lawyer was frantically whispering in her ear. But the damage was done. Her true face had slipped out in front of everyone. I mean, we all heard what you meant, the judge said. He turned to me. Miss Miller, do you have anything else you'd like to add? I looked at Beatrice, really looked at her for the first time in years. She seemed smaller somehow, stripped of the power she'd held over a grieving child. Just one thing, Aunt Beatrice. Do you remember what you told me the day I got the full scholarship to college? She said nothing. You told me I should give it up, that people like us don't go to university, that I should get a job and start paying you back for all you'd done. I smiled slyly. That's when I knew I had to leave. Had to become someone you couldn't tear down anymore. And did you? Judge Thompson asked. Become someone? I graduated summa cum laude. Got a full ride to law school. Passed the bar on my first try. I straightened my shoulders. I became a victims' rights attorney. I help children who are being financially exploited by their guardians. Turns out there are a lot of Aunt Beatrices in the world. The judge nodded slowly. I've heard enough, Mrs. Evans. Your claim is not only dismissed, but I'm referring this case to the Department of Social Services for investigation of benefits fraud. You received $280,000 to care for your niece, and by your own admission today, you considered her a burden and a mistake. The evidence suggests you systematically deprived her of necessities while enriching yourself. You can't. Furthermore, he continued, I'm recommending a criminal investigation for fraud, neglect, and fiduciary breach. You had a legal obligation to use those funds for Miss Miller's benefit. Instead, you financed a lifestyle upgrade while subjecting her to emotional abuse and neglect. Beatrice's lawyer was pulling her toward the door, but she turned back, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of remorse, tears of rage. You destroyed our family. No, I said quietly. You did that when you chose money over a child who needed love. The courtroom began to empty. My cousins filed past. Sophia paused, her mouth opening like she wanted to say something, then hurried after her mother. Only Lily lingered, now 21, and looking lost. Olivia, she whispered. I didn't know about the money, the treatment. I was so young. But I remember things now. The different dinners. The locked door. I'm sorry. You were a child too, I said gently. It wasn't your fault. Cora gathered our papers while I sat in the sudden quiet. We'd won, but victory tasted like ashes and old photographs. You okay? Cora asked. You know what the ironic part is? I laughed. But it sounded hollow. If she just loved me even a little, I would have given her anything. I make good money now. I would have helped her. supported her in her old age. All she had to do was be kind. Some people can't see past their greed, Cora said. Outside the courthouse, Beatrice was screaming at her lawyer about appeals, about injustice, about ungrateful children who don't understand sacrifice. But I was done listening. I'd spent 8 years as her audience, watching her perform the role of a martyred aunt while she picked my future from my pockets like a common thief. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Sophia. Can we talk? There are things you should know about where that money went. Things Mom doesn't know. We know." I showed Cora, who raised an eyebrow. "Could be interesting or painful," I said. "Most truth is both," she replied. That night, I met Sophia and Lucas at a coffee shop downtown. Lily was there too, fidgeting with her phone. They looked like kids caught stealing cookies, except the jar they'd raided was full of secrets. "We found papers," Sophia said, without preamble. "After you left for college, Mom was panicking about something, tearing apart her closet. We found bank statements, gambling debts, loans she'd taken out using your social security number, identity theft," I said numbly. "Of course, we confronted her," Lucas added. "She said it was for the family, that you owed us anyway, but we knew. We knew it wasn't right. We just didn't know what to do. You were kids." I repeated what I told Lily. "It wasn't your responsibility, but we benefited," Lily said quietly. "My college tuition, their cars, family vacations you never got to go on. We benefited from your suffering. So what now?" I asked. They exchanged glances. Sophia pulled out a checkbook. "We can't give back your childhood, but we can start somewhere." "I don't want your money," I said. "It's not ours," Lucas said firmly. "It never was. We talked to a lawyer after today. We're going to testify if the criminal case goes forward, and we're going to make sure you get back what was stolen. It won't be everything, but..." "Why?" I interrupted. "Why help me now?" Lily reached across the table and took my hand. "Because you're our cousin. Because what she did was wrong. Because family shouldn't be conditional on bank balances," and Sophia added quietly, "because we remember the little girl who used to share her single Christmas present with us, even though we had dozens. You deserve better than our mother gave you. Maybe it's too late to be the family you needed then, but it's not too late to be decent human beings now." I cried then for the first time since Beatrice had taken me in. I cried in front of my cousins, not tears of pain or rage, but something cleaner, something that tasted like possibility. The criminal case would take months. The investigation would be thorough. Beatrice would likely face jail time for benefits fraud and identity theft. But sitting in that coffee shop with 3 people who chose truth over comfortable lies, I felt something I hadn't experienced in 18 years. Family. Not the kind that demands invoices for love, but the kind that shows up when the truth gets ugly. The kind that chooses justice over blood. The kind that says we were wrong and means it. Beatrice had presented her bill, $30,000 for a childhood of neglect dressed up as charity. The judge had countered with his own invoice to 80,000 stolen, plus interest, plus a criminal record, plus the loss of her children's respect. But the real cost, that was written in a 10-year-old's diary, in missed school trips, in dinners eaten alone, in a college fund that evaporated like morning dew. You can't put a price on childhood. But Beatrice had tried, and now she was learning what happens when the bill comes due. As we left the coffee shop, Lily linked her arm through mine. "So, cousin, tell us about this victims' rights work you do. How can we help?" And for the first time in my life, that word cousin didn't sound like a reminder of what I wasn't. It sounded like a promise of what we could become.